Life in his house was very, very busy. Doorbell never stopped ringing, the phone never stopped ringing, there were people coming and going all the time. He would always practice in the morning. You couldn't move him. He wouldn't answer the phone, he wouldn't get up, he wouldn't barely talk to anybody until he felt that he had fulfilled his own obligation towards his music.
He used to practice for long hours and he never missed a day. The only time he would miss his practice was usually the day after a major concert. He would give himself a break. He was quite sympathetic about newcomers into the field of music. He allowed them to listen to him and allowed them to hang around when he was practicing. If they had any particular question, he always eagerly answered them.
I used to sit with him. Sometimes I took my sitar if I had questions, and he would answer them and he would show me, he would play. He played on my sitar many times, and I told him, gee, how could my sitar sound so beautiful? And he was very nice about it. I said, how come I play like this and it doesn't sound nice? He said, just practice.
He really inspired me. He was saying, oh, you should practice more. Come on, practice, And then he used to say, look, I practice. At that time, I was maybe 10 years old, 10, 11 years old. And he said, look, my finger is started, bleeding. And I thought, oh my God, but how do you play? And he said, I'm still playing. So you have to practice too.
There is no shortcut because it's a lifetime's job. Full dedication is required, and practice is the word. Whatever talent or genius you are, it is 90% perspiration and 10% inspiration.
He was so much in practice that the things which are risky for normal musicians did not appear as risk for him. There was always some extraordinary touch.
All the musical actions of sitar playing were at his fingertips. He commanded tremendous virtuosity, but he has never used virtuosity as an end. It was only a means to reach his musical goal.
They used to have these open-air conferences where they would have a stage at one end of a big, long field, and people would fill up the entire field. I remember my father starting the late night, which was the norm for the main artist of the day, and then he would continue playing till early morning. You would see the dawn break out and he was still playing. And he would try to stop, and the people would request, and everybody would start to shout for the next one, another piece, and he would play another one.
He applied the same standard to his performance as he applied to his practice, and that is the highest possible standard. He never took his audience for granted. He always made a great effort, even when he was not feeling well. He would appear on stage, he would sit down, he would acknowledge his audience, he would acknowledge his tabla player, but as soon as he sat down on stage, he more or less disappeared behind his sitar.
He used to look on his instrument and concentrate so much. He was so intense and introvert. He didn't used to see the audience.
His demeanor never changed. It was just the music. And then, of course, mixed with the incredible depth and musicality, and what he was expressing was unlike any other musician that I ever heard, both Hindustani and, frankly, even in the West.
Talked about his own music or his own performance. And I tried to draw him out on the subject, and I never succeeded. He left it to his audience to judge him and to the musicians that he respected.
Once or twice he would ask me after the program, how do you think people took it? And then if I would try to say something that I felt, no, don't tell what you felt. I just want to hear what is the feedback from the people. Whether he played well or he didn't, he never opened his mouth. I don't think anybody has heard him ever say, well, I have given a great concert. I have known all great musicians to fail, to disappoint their audience sometimes. I mean, it happens to everybody. It has happened to the greatest of them all. But I have never heard Nikhil Banerjee to fail. His consistency in the matter of recitals was amazing. He had that tremendous capacity of losing himself in music. It is this concentration and this ability to drown oneself into one's music raised Nikhil to the level of greatness.